Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So I didn't expect to be doing this reading today. It's coming, it feels like there's a lot of pressure to get it out. I feel like it's time sensitive and it's so I've just finished Aquarius and Pisces as a reading, so all the readings are kind of like uploading, scheduled, completed for the next 7 days or so. So just so you're aware, this reading is being done for me after Pisces' reading, but you're going to get it today, and then there's going to be several readings that are kind of running over the next set of days. So because it's September the 11th, I thought, you know what, at 11:11 on September the 11th, I'm going to have a moment's silence, which is what we do in the UK. It's kind of like to show respect for the fallen, right? So but I thought at the same time I'm going to kind of meditate, and I'm just going to see what comes in, because if you are interested in kind of spirituality, 11:11 is a very, very significant number. So 11:11 I thought, you know what, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to meditate and see what happens. And oh my goodness, you guys, like what I got was literally, I want to say it was out of this world, because it kind of was and it kind of wasn't. So right, it's going to be one of those readings again. I'm not saying it's the aliens, but it's the aliens is what I'm saying. So you know, if that is a bit too out there for you, if that is not the truth is out there, my guys are so funny. So I have spirit guides, which most of you I assume know, and one of them is Starman, and it feels like this is like an alien type person floating around in outer space, very kind of like Doctor Who kind of Time Lord kind of quality to them. They do come in, I think it's the physicist, there's somebody that I'm connected to that likes to tell me about, I don't know, quantum mechanics and biochemistry and all this kind of you know, big brain energy that I don't fully understand, and then have to go and Google it and try and understand what they're trying to tell me, because it came in with one of those messages, which I kind of will round up to. So I'm going to tell you what I got in meditation first. So let me just get my notes. So sat down, 11:11, sat down in my little meditation pose, and I thought, I was kind of scrolling through my meditation sounds, which I tend to use TM Soft on Spotify, TM Soft meditation sounds, and I picked one from my own little list of favorites, and it was like ocean noises, ocean on the beach, because it felt like it fit the mood, you know, like we'll fight them on the beaches. It felt like it was appropriate, you know, an appropriate setting. So the beach is one of my favorite places to start when I'm meditating. It feels like it's my beach. So I went to my beach in my mind's eye, in my spiritual plane, right? And it's got quite a big wide beach. I sit on the edge of the ocean with the ocean surf, looking out at the horizon with all the stars above me. Sometimes it's daytime, sometimes it's nighttime. In this case, it was quite dark. I'd say it's kind of like maybe a little bit darker than twilight, like not like pitch black night, but kind of like that kind of like bluey twinkly kind of light. And so I'm on the beach, and in the background of my beach there's a cave which leads to where the dragon lives. So some of you may know my other spirit guide, which is the dragon. So I'm sat there, and so again, I don't know, because like my readings are very wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. I don't know what I've said in which reading, but I have talked about this a couple of times this week. Last week or the last fortnight or so, I felt really, really disconnected to Starman. It's almost like, Starman, where did you go? Scooby-Doo, where are you? Like, I've just been like, there's been no sign of him. It's just been, where are you? And the dragon energy has felt right there with me, like a protective guardian spirit, which is kind of what that energy is. It's kind of like my animus, which again I talk about, I think, in Aquarius's reading or Pisces' reading later in the week. So this feeling very aligned and protected with one of my guides, but it almost felt like the dragon was snapping at the Starman, like it was trying, like the dragon was trying to protect me from Starman. So I was like, hang on, what's happening here? Why, like, you know, it's almost like that's my friend though. That's my friend. That's my other guide. They're not trying to hurt me. Like, why am I being protected from Star? It was weird, right? It was really weird. but I missed him. I missed Starman. I was like, I don't know, I missed that connection. So I've kind of been a bit rebellious to the dragon that's trying to protect me and been like, I'm gonna get Starman. Like, I'm gonna pull through and kind of go and find him. Because I don't know, I'm like spirit's worst enemy. I don't do what I'm told. So like, anyway, I'm on my beach in meditation with this ocean in front of me, looking up at the stars, looking up at the moon, and trying to call in Starman. Oh, I need to say though, I do see it as kind of Aquarius energy, and it's really strange because two of my favorite readers are Awakening to Spirit and Sun Tarot, and it's like they're getting really similar stuff for Aquarius. In fact, Sun Tarot couldn't read for Aquarius for 4 days. It was like, no, Aquarius cannot be contacted. Aquarius is not coming through. And like Awakening to Spirit, I've literally just watched her new Aquarius reading, and I was like, oh my goodness, the parallels with what I've been saying. So another parallel that I'm really picking up on with Awakening to Spirit and Sun Tarot, who I always feel like, you know, my messages are in their readings are in my messages. It's like we're all part of some kind of collective consciousness. We're all tapping into the same thing. They do it much more expertly. They've been doing it a lot longer than me. They know their stuff. But the actual motifs and things that they're saying, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I've been picking up on. And it's like nice validation for me. So another thing, I recently read that Stephen King fairy tale story, which actually I don't think I was aware of until it came out in one of my readings. And I was like, oh my God. And then I found out that there was this book, and I was like, clearly they want me to read this book. So Stephen King seems to keep popping in and out of my readings. And I even mentioned it in one of the readings this week. Now, when I watched Sun Taro's Aquarius reading, she also started talking about this book, Fairy Tales by Stephen King. And in Awakening to Spirit's Aquarius reading, she starts talking about Stephen King. It's a TV show she's watched though in Cindy's case. And I'm like, what is it? Why are we all talking about Stephen King? It's so strange. So Awakening to Spirit's reading as well, where she's talking about, she's almost like talking about being floating in the water, like floating and kind of, yeah, just floating in the water. And I was like, oh my God, it's like my ISO tank, right? If you've heard me talking about the ISO tank that I went in this week. So it's so strange, so strange. It just keeps coming through. And it's like, it's so funny because it wasn't coming through, and now it's like coming through everywhere. So I'm sat on my beach and I'm like, right, Starman, Scooby-Doo, are you coming through? Right? So I was really like looking up at the stars, trying to call in this Starman energy, and then trying to release control, allow the visions to come to me rather than me manifest the visions. And all of a sudden, in front of me, this massive, like, it was like a spaceship and a jellyfish at the same time. This massive jellyfish spacecraft just came up out of the water right in front of me. And like, to describe it, because I'm very, very visual, when I, you know, some people are very like visual dreamers, like the depth to the images that come through, they're quite intense for me. So like, if you think about a jellyfish, they're kind of transparent, but this, like, it's almost like the shell of it, right? It was like hard and soft at the same time, like as if you were melting a pearl. So it was like semi-transparent and pearlescent and glowing. And I was just like, wow, this is pretty cool. It's the aliens. And it was so funny to me because I was like looking up at the stars thinking, Starman, where are you? Are you out there? And it's like, yeah, it's in the ocean. So a lot of people, this is a bit of a conspiracy theory. A lot of people do think that aliens are in the ocean. You know, they came to Earth, they've been living in the ocean. Also, there's stuff about Atlantis here, if you want to look at this card. So again, it could be, maybe they've been here the entire time, maybe they're not aliens, maybe, you know, maybe they've been here longer than us. I don't know, however you want to take it, whatever way you want to read into it, it's just a vision, it could be a metaphor, right? But this big thing came up out in front of me out of the ocean. I was like, oh hi, you're back, are you? So yeah, this big bioluminescent jelly spaceship that looked like a transparent pearl, absolutely beautiful. And then I'm like pressing on the front of it. If you imagine like somebody getting a new car and you kind of like give it a hug. So I was kind of like on this, and it's kind of like it had a consciousness. It's like this was Starman presenting itself to me. Like Starman is this consciousness that lives in this bioengineered jellyfish spacecraft. I was like, oh my goodness, like I've finally seen it. It's finally presented in front of me. So in this way, at least this time, I'm not going to say it doesn't present in front of me in a different way in the future, because that's what the other guy does. So I'm just like this on it, right? So it was, I was kind of like pressing on it, and I wasn't really going through it. It was kind of like it did have kind of like a shellness to it. Like it did have density, but all of a sudden I was kind of transported and I was inside it. So sat kind of cross-legged in that kind of meditation pose inside this jelly. But once I was inside it, I could see, it was like I could see more of how it worked, or I could see more of the consistency of what it was made of. And yes, it was like a translucent pearl-like jelly substance, but it was also kind of made of crystal. So every now and again it kind of like, almost like if you imagine a spine moving through, it was like the body of the ship itself kind of had this movement to it where it was changing and pulsing and shifting, and it had all these like, it was almost like crystals like this, right? So it was almost like suddenly there was all this kind of pearlescent crystal quality to it, as though the thing itself was shifting. Oh, it was so cool. I wish I could project what I saw into your minds. So yeah, just absolutely fascinated by being in this. And I had this feeling like they wanted me to fly the ship, a little bit like Flight of the Navigator. It was like, go on, like, see if you can fly the ship. But I kind of didn't want to. I kind of had this resistance to doing that because I was just unsure. And I felt then this, as though I'd grown these like of the same material, right? Of this same crystal jelly substance, I grew these wings on my back inside it, and it was really like they were encouraging me to fly the ship, right? By showing me these wings. It's like, you can fly this. So I don't feel like I particularly did, but then I kind of like leaned forward and looked in, and there was this almost like, you know, sometimes in submarines they have like an open pool where you can jump in and kind of like go into the ocean. It's like you can jump in, you can jump out, something to do with like how the air works. It stops, you know, it won't flood because like the air's taking up that space, so the water doesn't come in. I don't know, I don't really understand physics. Again, that's their stuff, not my stuff. So I was kind of like looking into this absolute pitch black water. So it's like, even though I hadn't steered the ship, it was like I was suddenly at the depths of the ocean, like really low down, you know, where the ocean is like black. And so I was looking into this like black water, and kind of like feeling into it, and then kind of like fell forward into it. And so as I did this, as I kind of had a peek into this water, I just caught, and it's almost like this, if I kind of show you, it's almost like, hang on, this is probably a better card to show you. So in this pitch blackness, there was just like a little tiny glimpse of what I'd say is like this part of like the tops of towers. It was like it just came into view, and it was, again, it was like made out of the same substance, so this crystal jelly substance, you know, just peeking. I could see like the spires of this city. So again, it's all in meditation. It could all just be in my head, right? But again, it's really interesting when other people, I mean, I wouldn't say Santara and Awakening to Spirit have said the exact thing, but I kind of, again, I feel like this rush to say it because I don't know if it's going to come out in other people's readings, and I don't want to be seen as copying or anything like that when it's a legitimate vision that I've had myself. So yeah, just a glimpse of this like crystal jelly city, beautiful, a bit like the film Abyss, right? If you've ever seen Abyss. So then I felt like I was being coated in this substance, like head to toe, as though I'd been dipped in this crystal jelly, right? Crystal jelly is the way it keeps on coming through, as though this was going to help me be able to navigate this space, you know, almost as if, you know, in the film Splash, where Daryl Hannah kisses Tom Hanks, and then, because she's a mermaid, and then she kisses him and he's able to swim underwater, right? He's able to breathe underwater. So it's like that kind of thing where, you know, or like Harry Potter as well, where is it called like gillyweed? He eats the gillyweed and then he can, like, he gets gills and can swim underwater. It's like that, but it's like the substance itself was, me being coated in that substance was giving me the ability to also exist in that space, because I mean it's incredibly dense, isn't it? It could crush you being at the bottom of the ocean. So this is as far as this is as far as I got in the meditation, and again it had gone past 11:11. It was maybe about 5-6 minutes in total that I was in this meditation for, and I was just getting crystal jelly, crystal jelly, crystal jelly. It was like the emphasis was absolutely on this substance. So I googled crystal jelly and it came up with a variety of things. But what stood out to me, so again, like the Starman guide seems to come in with being very Aquarian, being kind of like an alien type character who's trying to help out humanity. They come in with stuff like quantum mechanics and, you know, protons and neurons and quarks and gluons. Like they come in with all this scientific language that that I then wander off and Google. And so I googled crystal jelly, and there's a crystal jellyfish, and it's called Aquaria Victoria. It says on the wiki for it, it says Aquaria Victoria, also sometimes called crystal jelly, is a bioluminescent hydrozoan jellyfish or hydromedusa that is found off the west coast. Oh my god, I've been getting west coast all week. I talk about that a lot. I think Capricorn gets it too. I think Scorpio gets it today in a very scary way, and then Capricorn get it as well. West coast. The species is best known as the source of two proteins. Now this seems to be the thing. Two proteins involved in bioluminescence. Aquiorin, a photoprotein. I've been talking about photons. I don't know. Again, I'm not a physicist, guys. I'm going to get stuff wrong sometimes. They're giving the information. I'm translating it as best as I can. But protons or photons, right? The one that's like light waves. I talk about that a lot in this week's readings. So it's like I'm getting excited then because I'm like, oh my god, they're giving me more about what I've already been picking up on. So aquiorin, a photoprotein, and green fluorescent protein. So one protein is this neon blue color. Now, for those of you who know that my experience in the isotype, the only vision I got was that suddenly, and you're in pitch blackness, you're in this, right? Like it's complete sensory deprivation, and all of a sudden I was flooded in this kind of like blue, like aqua blue light. Like it's all I could see, to the point that I had to actually check that the light hadn't gone on in the, because it has a blue light inside the actual unit that you go inside. And I literally, because I had my eyes open and it was completely blue, and I was like, I had to turn the light on to check that I wasn't seeing the light. Right, the light had been off for maybe half an hour at that point, and I was seeing blue. So yeah, maybe my brain was starved of oxygen or something. I don't know, but it's that bioluminescence, that blueness, that seems to be what I'm being given. So it says that they can expand their mouth when feeding to swallow jellies more than half its size. When disturbed, it gives off a green-blue glow because more than 100 tiny light-producing organs surround its outer bell. Then I googled aquiorin, the protein, because I was more drawn to the blue one than the green one. Aquiorin is a calcium-activated photoprotein isolated from the hydrozone Aquaria Victoria. Its bioluminescence was studied decades before the protein was isolated from the animal by Osamu Shimomura in 1962. And I've got a little bit more on that there, like the structure of it. And then it says, where was it? Okay, so sorry, I'm just trying to find it. So then I found this term, bioluminescent renaissance energy transfer. Now this is really techy. They shorten it to BRET. So if you Google like bioluminescence BRET, you should be able to find out more about this if you're interested. It's a little bit too much for me to take in. Again, I'm quite small brain, but it seems to be talking about the way that the two types of protein, these two bioluminescent protein, seem to mix together. It seems to be talking about that, or they transfer energy between, or they transfer light, or they transfer energy between, because light is energy, right, between these two proteins. So I don't know if this is going to be something that gets used in medicine. Perhaps, for example, I could imagine something like this being used to help with x-rays and things like this. I don't know if this is something they currently do. I didn't look into it that far, but it says I mean, I don't understand it. I'm going to read what it says, but I don't. It's very sciencey, and A limitation of fret produced with fluorophore donors is the requirement for external illumination to initiate the fluorescent transfer, which can lead to background noise and results from direct excitation of the acceptor to photo bleaching. To avoid this drawback, bioluminescence renaissance energy transfer, which is this BRET, has been developed. This technique uses a bioluminescent luciphase, typically luciphase from something, rather than blah, 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 blah. So it's a better way of doing it, right? And so this gave me the word luciferase, right? Lucifer, light. Oh my goodness, it's coming full circle, guys, because like go back and watch that other Tell Me Anything reading. Like it's just like you dig and you're like, oh my god, we're back to Lucifer the light bringer, like bringing information. And I was like, I thought the dragon was Lucifer, and I think actually the Starman's Lucifer, right? But it's giving us information. Again, Lucifer, not talking about like, ooh, evil devil trying to murder us. I'm talking about Lucifer the light bringer, right? Like the idea of like more like of a Prometheus character, or a benevolent god, angel, whatever you want to call it, alien, who is trying to give us information to help us advance humanity, which is what Aquarius energy is meant to do. So again, it doesn't have to be a specific person. It doesn't have to be like a specific like alien or Lucifer or anything like that. It's like Aquarius energy as a personification, or as a, I don't know, an objectification. It's like metaphor and imagery to help me understand what I'm trying to be told. So then it says this luciferase is blah blah blah, but the name was first used by Raphael Dubois, who invented the words luciferin and luciferase. So then luciferin, from the Latin Lucifer, light bearer, is a genetic term for the light-emitting compound found in organisms that generate bioluminescence. Luciferins typically undergo an enzyme-catalyzed reaction with a molecular oxygen. Again, I don't understand this. I don't know if it's making any sense to you. It feels like sitting through a science lesson you don't understand in school. But it could be that one person out there who watches this reading, this is like the light bulb moment for them. This is the information they needed. So I have to pass it on just in case it's like this information could fucking benefit humanity, right? I have to say it. Luciferins typically undergo an enzyme-catalyzed reaction with molecular oxygen. The resulting transformation, which usually involves splitting off a molecular fragment, produces an excited state intermediate that emits light upon decaying to its ground state. The term may refer to molecules that are substrates for both luciferases and photoproteins. So I don't know, it's something about light and photo waves, right? Image waves, light waves, which is how we see. I talk about it again in one of the other readings. So I don't know, I was like mind blown. So then I was like, I have to pull cards on this. I have to do a reading. I have to understand more of what I'm being told and shown here. So I used this deck, which is like the Mermaid's deck, and like, look at this, isn't this like, you know, humans and I don't know, it's like we're the same. It's like looking at each other and being like, we're the same, right? We have common ground here, which is interesting coming out of Scorpio's reading today, which made me incredibly uncomfortable. I was really scared of the reaction of that video because I didn't want to be seen as being a certain thing that I'm not, but again, it was like this topic's coming through and I have to pass on the messages. That's not me condoning anything or doing like a get out of jail free cause. There's a reason why this is coming through, and it has to be communicated because it could be important to somebody, to just have that acknowledgement rather than me condoning any kind of behavior. Just kind of throw that out there. But the Lovers card, it's like seeing the similarities rather than the differences, and one being in the water and one being on land. And then like this, I feel like there's something here with this person looking at the castle, right? Looking at the spires, but this is on land. And then so it's like they're the same, right? There's a recognition in the other in this. Then Ace of Swords, which is some kind of truth. But I want to say it's some kind of truth that's been kept hidden is the way I'm hearing it. I don't know. Maybe it's something about Atlantis. Maybe we're going to find something in the news, like the government kept this hidden from us. I don't know. And then the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the person who's up on land, right? Who's got their back turned to the water. It's like they've forgotten about it. But the tree is symbolic of knowledge, and the tree draws up water. Water I associate with memories. It's in the other readings if you want to check it out. But it's like it's there all along. It's been there the whole time. And we've been, if you actually look, she's using a book and a stick to write. So it's like shared knowledge. It's like they've been communicating with us through the water, through the trees this entire time. They've been giving us these tools to pass on knowledge to the next generation so that it can be built upon, so that we're not starting from scratch, so that we're not going back to fire going, ooh, fire. This again came out in one of probably Aquarius's reading. So we're not sat there going, ooh, fire, and we have to like figure out fire to rockets every single generation. It's like we write it down, we pass it on, right? We store the information, we pass it on to our children, we teach our children. They start with like this basic understanding of things that they then build upon in their lifetimes. So there's something about that with that. The Magician, having everything that you need at your disposal to make a dream come true, to make dreams happen. I feel like the fish side has been manifesting something. And then we have this Tower moment. So the Tower moment with the Chariot, I feel like with the truth that's been hidden, I do feel like it's like something about Atlantis perhaps. This kind of reminds me of like the Capricorn. It's Cancerian, the Chariot is Cancer, but it kind of reminds me of like almost like the Capricorn goatfish. If you look at the imagery of Capricorn, it's a goatfish, but again it's like a horsefish. So Sagittarius, I don't know, Sagittarius fish, I don't know. So there's this thing that's saying we're very, very similar. We're very similar. You have horses, we have seahorses. Do you see what I mean? There's something with this. But it's like, I don't know if there's this kind of distress call. I don't know if there's something happening. Like maybe there's been an earthquake and it's damaged their city. If this is real, right? Again, I have the habit of channeling TV shows. And then I get freaked out, especially if I channel like a TV show about murder or something. I get really in my head and I get really scared. And like sometimes I channel like sci-fi movies, like the movie Dune, D-U-N-E, channeled it almost scene for scene, like full-on sentences. Like it's like I channeled the visually and the script. Like I watched it and I was like, I feel like I've watched this before, and it's been coming out in my readings all week. Like you know, so I do have this habit of doing this. So again, this could be some TV show that's coming on that I'm not aware of. But yeah, it's got this feeling of like something's happened. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because up on land we're doing something that's kind of like causing big environmental changes. It's causing earthquakes. Some of these earthquakes are affecting them. Could be something like that. But again, it's got this feeling of like something falling apart and being released. I don't know. But that's kind of what I've got from that. And then trying to harness it, the funny thing about this Chariot card is normally it's one person bringing two horses together, and here it's shown as a horse bringing two people together. So I don't know if there's some kind of imagery in that, like trying to control a Tower moment. I'm not sure. So like I'm going to kind of move quite quickly because I'm doing really long readings at the moment. How long is this so far? 27 minutes. So I want to say there's something here about people who are looking for more information, the kind of people who are like, let's dig a little bit deeper, let's investigate this, let's look more deeply into this, because you've got the Page of Air twice, the Page of Swords, the Page of Air, right? So it's like these, again, it could be like the children who are like asking why do jellyfish glow? Don't just tell me that jellyfish glow because they're bioluminescent. What is bioluminescence? How does that work? What's a photon? What's a proton? Right? Proton, photon. Again, I'm not a physicist, right? But it's like these children who are like, but why? It's like digging deeper, and also me inquiring to these kind of guides and be like, tell me more, Starman. You know. So we have that. What else have I got here? And then we have this card as well, like the answers you need are coming. This is a very Gemini energy, this kind of like child asking why. So Page of Air, like the answers you need are coming. So if you're asking why, it's like you're gonna get the answers. Also, this card is on the underline of this deck. It's kind of like the deep sea astronaut. So some of you may know I've got a card in my own deck that's the deep sea astronaut. Again, I kind of had one of these readings a while back where I felt like I was going into the abyss. I need to kind of like rewatch that reading because I can't remember what I said in it now. So knocking things over, just trying to get my other underlying cards prepared. So I'm going to start here with this King of Water, because this King of Water came out with the Two of Water and the World card. Look at those cards, of the first cards that fell out of the deck with these, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like Water World, right? It's like our world, but it's like a world within a world, which came through in one of my readings as like a book within a book, like a story within a story. So it's like a whole world to explore in our own oceans, or maybe there's like an ocean planet or something like that. I don't know, but like I don't have all the answers, guys. I can't tell you why all the time. I have to ask my guides and just tell you what I'm given. So like the King of Water is like this, it's like the person giving orders, right? Maybe this is like Aquaman. Is there a new Aquaman movie coming out or something like that, right? The Atlanteans. So he's like the king here, the leader of the Atlanteans, if you like, this King Triton character. Maybe a Scorpio, maybe somebody who's very, very in touch with their emotions. Maybe they have a lot of nostalgia and memories, you know, and maybe a little bit psychic, a little bit intuitive if this is a real person in your life. But it's like, you see how he's like calling this fish to him. He's like, it's almost like he's calling in these fish and giving them their orders, you know, giving them their, it's like, the way I'm seeing it is like he's telling the fish to go and spread the word. So the way I'm seeing it is he's called specifically these two fish to him. So these two fish, and said, spread the word, go and, like, this is what I need to say, this is my message, go and spread it. So you can see how the fish are going off in two different directions. So one fish goes off to the left here, to actually towards this prosperity lies ahead card. So look, you've got all this earth energy on this side. So it's like this person has gone to spread the word to people on land or something like that. Or this person had to, perhaps it is talking about, you know how you pick, it's almost like people say you choose your life before you are born, you know, like there's that theory, right? So it's like this person's destiny, this person, the job this person was given by God or something like this in this lifetime here on earth was to build up their resources, to build up cities, to build up their home, to build up their bank account, something like that, because you've got all this Taurus energy. Prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus, right, with the bull. And it's funny that I was talking about the bull and the bull ring in the other video. 10 of earth, right, building up the resources, like maxing out your assets. And then the ace of earth as well, like new seeds, like taking one of the 10 of earth. Like I don't know if there's something where there's, because it's prosperity lies ahead, so I don't know if it's going to be some kind of opportunity, or some kind of opportunity to invest in something that's going to be very, very profitable on this side of the table. And I'm linking this with the confidence dragon as well, which again came out like 2 weeks ago, something like that, in one of my story time readings. It was all about the confidence. This other fish is going in this direction. So this, where this person went to earth energy, this person has gone to air energy. So it's like, if this person was busy being practical, it's like the king said, right, you go and build up these resources, you go and do these investments, you go and be very practical and grounded and earthy. It's like he's saying to the other, you're a communicator, you need to spread the message. So there's something happening here where, and it has this feeling of like these two fish, right? I'm seeing the fish as the dragons. It's like they go apart and they come back again, because they're magic and manifestation, right? So one has magic and one is manifestation, and it's like they're working together to carry out the king's orders, is the way it's coming through. I don't know, again, it could just be some kind of TV show. So then you have these two. So the second fish has gone off into air energy, like as this kind of angel-like character. Again, it's got this feeling of like the devil and the angel, right? This one's gone high and this one's gone to the money, and I do associate money with that kind of Plutonian energy. So it's like they're telling me the story of my two guides. They're telling me the story of my destiny dragon, which is on the underline here, right? And my angel dragon. It's like the Starman's a dragon too, or something like that, because I pulled this out intentionally because it kind of looks like, you know, the texture of it, the transparency, but also kind of opalescence, and because it's crystal, I thought it was a good demonstration visually of kind of how I was seeing that jellyfish. But yeah, this was what was on the underlying. So you have this confidence dragon and this destiny dragon. So I don't know, I'm seeing it as kind of like my two guides going off in different directions. The one that went into the cave, right, into the earth, like Pluto, the god Pluto, whose literal job it was to put nutrients and, yeah, to look after the dead, right, but also to put nutrients and metals and gems and crystals into the earth, which could be utilized on, you know, above ground. You know, it's a really important job. So if you want to look into the history a little bit more of Pluto, Hades, Dispater as well, equivalent god. And then you have the Starman energy, who's gone up high, who's gone to the stars. So again, it could talk about your own energy work, you know, pushing your energy down into the ground and pushing your energy up to the stars and expansion. But the second fish anyway is this kind of air energy. So we may be talking about star signs, maybe an earth sign and an air sign, but this one is spreading the word. So this is kind of giving to me Twitter a little bit, like with the birds, but it's like, it's almost like in disguise. It's like trying to look like one of, do you see what I mean? It's like walking a tightrope, trying to act like all the other birds. It's like they're trying to disguise themselves as a bird. But also at the same time, it's like they're putting on a show. It's like they're putting on a performance. Because I'm seeing it almost like some kind of stage act or ballet act. It's like, because this voice is like, you know, somebody doing a play and like shouting. Like, you know how you have to project your voice? And then it's like, I don't know, it's like the end of the show. It's almost like taking a bow at the end of the show with the audience watching. So I'm seeing this as like maybe like some kind of ballerina or performer or actor or something like that. But they're like up on this, you know, again, like doing a tightrope act, like they're performing, but they're kind of mixed in with these others, like this could be like their friends or something. But there's conflict here. They're not actually like these other birds. There's something different. There's something else. Do you see what I mean? Like with that 5 of air, which kind of came out actually in Aquarius's reading. So I want to say, if this, because it's the messenger of air as well, right? So this one is like spreading the word. They're communicating, they're singing, they're literally, because they're coming through voice, right? They're speaking their word, they're speaking their voice. Like it's their job here to speak. This person's job to build up prosperity. This person's job to speak, to spread the word, to be heard. So and these seem to be the orders of this King of Water. So then, because the 5 of air literally means conflict and differences of opinion and arguing, we then have this interesting card that says, conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse, and then perspective. None of this matters, zoom out, common ground. So it's like when you're on Earth, right? When you're sat on Earth, when you're on this planet, when you're on the world, right? Like the literal our world, Earth, the planet Earth, and you look up at the moon, it can feel like this, again, that feeling of me not being able to connect with my guides. Like Starman's on the moon, I can't connect with him, which is kind of how I feel sometimes about my own guides, which I know makes me sound crazy, but I don't know. Libra's reading this week was like, it doesn't matter, you know, I can't control what you think of me, so all I can do is speak my word, which seems to be my path at the moment. But like conclusions are within reach. It's like this blockage, or like this something preventing you, again with this kind of conflict of the mind perhaps. But it's like if you flip to the other perspective, where you are on the moon, perhaps looking back at Earth, when you zoom out, it's like none of it matters. Like kind of the conflicts of Earth, you know, like, and you can talk about like war, like people fighting over money, people fighting over oil, people fighting over some stupid internet drama. Like, did that person use the wrong shade of lipstick? Why are they using that shade of lipstick when that person's cancelled? Do you know, like low vibrational BS? It's like, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we save our planet from total destruction, you know, so that the waters don't rise and we turn into a water world, perhaps. So yeah, like it doesn't matter, right? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. So you might as well just find common ground, because, you know, people aren't going to listen if you come at a situation in conflict, which is again a lesson for me this week. But yeah, so then with the perspective zoom, right, there's this, it's almost like, again, it's like almost coming through like planet within a planet within a planet, or like planet hopping, like planet skipping, again a bit like Spore, you know, when you go out if you've ever played the computer game Spore and you go to different planets, or Mass Effect or something like that. It's like planet to planet to planet, and then like you know, that maybe like an alien perspective on our world, you know, like people from other planets coming in and like looking at our world and having different perspectives. So then it's like this projecting outwards, which again has been coming out in my readings with like how we're a really noisy planet, again with the idea of like photons, protons, photons. It's like they how light works, how images work. You know, you put it, the light bounces off an image and it goes out, like being in a room full of mirrors, right? The image is projected out to infinity. So if we're all projecting like, I don't know, Instagram images, it's selfies of ourselves all over the internet, they're getting beamed up out into space. So the universe is like looking at us like, oh, what are these kind of weird animals? They're kind of like bald and they've got hair in weird places, and like some of them have hair and some of them don't, and they've only got 2 eyes, and like they paint their faces with like I don't know, like all these weird color, like what are these weird things doing? But then it's kind of like they get into it, they're curious and they want to come and see us. So this is kind of what it's saying: projecting your word, voice, star bathing, light body, crystal grid, right? Transmission, activation. So literally, we're a big noisy planet. We're being just literally projecting ourselves for light years, billions and billions of light years. We're projecting who we are out into the solar system, and we've been doing this for what, 70 years now, something like that. I don't know when we first beamed something into outer space. So we're making noise as a planet, basically. Like if there's anything out there, it's going to get curious. But it's like, this is what this person's been told to do, right? This is what this person's job is to be noisy, to project, maybe like on things like Twitter, right? To project like, hello, we're here. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? That kind of came through in one of the readings this week as well. So again, it could be through meditation, because if you look closely on this card, there's this person who's like asleep. So through dreams, perhaps through images that come to you through your subconscious, through your dream state, through your imagination, through meditation, or different ways that you may have to access that kind of higher self. It's like, this is how we get that higher perspective. This is how we astrally project ourselves perhaps to the moon, and, you know, look back at ourselves and kind of really critique ourselves like that. Interesting here, protection and cave. Again, like, not quite sure what that means, but this guy's showing up. And then we zoom out even more, and then we zoom out so far. It's almost like zooming out so far that we can't find our way home. It's like we can't figure out which planet's ours. It's like we've forgotten how to navigate the solar system, because I don't know, we've gone too deep, guys. We've gone too deep into the meditation. So stop. Embrace winter, great cosmic womb. Which, to be honest, I understand the cave and great cosmic womb, because that's how it feels to me. It's like, again, it's like the safe. It's like some people feel scared in darkness, but I think it does if you're in an unfamiliar environment. But if you're in your nest, right? If you're in your bed and you feel safe, and it's pitch black, it's like, it's so warm and snuggly, right? It's like the darkness embraces you in a protective way, because the dark protects, right, as well. You can hide in the dark. It protects you from those that see the light. I don't know what that is. But again, it's almost like this, Chrissy, wake up. It's this Chrissy wake up moment. I'm sorry, here's the beep beep truck. It's not even Thursday, guys. So like doing the sleep, doing the meditation, maybe even like almost like a comatose state, and then I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep going, and then like, or being in sleep, like being in sleep, and then it's like everybody's like, wake up, wake up. So Aquarius have something very similar to this in their reading. It's like they start at this point. So maybe do check out Aquarius's reading if this is resonating or interesting to you. But it's like everybody's waiting for Sleeping Beauty to wake up, right? Spirit's trying to lift her up. It could be difficult. I mean, I definitely experienced this last week, where I kind of went too deep into my meditation, and I felt so disconnected from reality. I was like walking around like I was in a trance. I'm sorry, that's really noisy, but I'm just gonna, like I say, I'm just gonna keep going. We're just gonna bear with it, guys. Yeah, I was literally walking around like a zombie in a trance-like state, because I've gone so deep into this meditative state, and it's like I had to get grounded again. So I sat there like, I had a day where I just like cleaned my house, which I'm not a big housework person. It kind of makes me depressed. The only time I'm enthusiastic about cleaning is when I'm depressed, because it's like, well, I'm depressed anyway, I might as well be productive. Yeah, so it's very unusual for me to be like, I'm going to completely clean this house and get to the bottom of that toy box and all that kind of stuff. So, but I had to get back to the practical side. So again, there's an interesting thing about these two people, like two people who are acting out almost like God's work, God's plan, and one has really kind of mastered, I want to say this dragon here, one has really kind of mastered the earth side, right? Maybe this person's really good at making money, maybe this person's really good at building things up for themselves, like establishing things, creating prosperity. If they're not, it's like that's the path that's about to open up for them. This one over here just seems to be like their job is literally expression, communication, passing on the messages, passing on the message perhaps. But again, it's almost like there's a balance here where perhaps this person could help this person because they are eloquent, because they have good communication skills, because they have a higher perspective on things, where this person could potentially be a little bit like can't see the woods for the trees, they get really stuck in, they get really focused. And then vice versa, like this person could be terrible with money, terrible at the practical side of life, because they're all in the thoughts, right? They're all in the head and the ideas, where this person could really kind of like support them. I don't know, there seems to be a bit of a yin yang thing going on there. And then all we have left on the bottom here is now deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing, which is kind of lovely. So I am actually I'm gonna see if a couple of cards want to come out and speak for themselves. So I'm just going to actually put these back in. So this is the Starseed Tarot, if anyone's interested in this deck. Got the Starseed Tarot, the Good Tarot. What's this one? Elemental Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. The Dragon Path Oracle deck. So is there anything... Oops, how did that moon get in there? You're a moon, you're not a star. Don't try and be a sun. Don't know. Is there anything that you would like me to read from this deck? Is there any more messages that you would like me to pass on at the end of this reading? Or are we done here? Are we done here? They're showing me a specific card, but I don't think it wants to come out. They're showing me the blue flame card. I think because of that blue light and bioluminescence, they may just want me to be like, guys, bioluminescence, right? That Luciferian stuff. Go and Google it. Go and check that out, right? Crystal jelly. Maybe go and have a look into that and see if anything else comes up for you. You may not get the same stuff as me, but there you go. That's what I've got for you. That's the reading. All I'm going to do is get a couple of cards, a couple of totems to watch out for if you're interested in doing that. Maybe just make a note of them, see if these things pop up in the week for you as like a little sign from spirit. So we've got the beach. This deck is like so kind of accurate, and like it makes so much sense. Like the beach and the arrow. Okay, I don't know whether I was supposed to take the arrow or not. And Pluto. There you go, guys. He's showing up. He's showing up. He's showing up. He's showing up. He's there. Woo! Don't know. It's like, Scooby, where are you? He's there. I mean, it's he's there, right? But he's there. I think there's a bit of a pun on, like a play on words with that song. It's by the Gorillas. And I believe that the actual lyrics are, or were originally, it's there. But because the performer, the singer, was, he had quite a thick kind of northern accent. He was, sometimes we don't pronounce our T's, guys. It's water, not water. Get me a cup of water. That's kind of London, but shush. So yeah, it's like because he had such a broad accent, he'd pronounced the there as dare. It's dare. Right, instead of it's there, it's there. So I do believe if you go and look up, I don't know why that's coming through, but if you look up that song, they kept it's there. So yeah, so if you're interested, it's Deep Sleep Sounds actually that I was listening to, the meditation song, and it's Storm on the Beach, Thunder, Rain, and Ocean Sounds, Deep Sleep Sounds. So let's go to my light songs and get you a song. Can I get a song, please, for this reading? Anything else you want to tell us? Anything you want us to be aware of? Anything else you want us to know? Give us a light bulb moment. Rockstar, why? Why this song? See, I think I mentioned this in Scorpio's reading today. Um, I mentioned a certain amount in Scorpio's reading, but I was getting a lot of stuff off camera that was very, very questionable. And I was like, this feels like I'm dipping into something here that I'd rather not know about. So Rockstar, I can't remember who originally sings it, but it's a cover by Sofia Karlberg. And I'll let you look up the lyrics to that yourself and make your own. It's quite a crude song, so go and check that out if you want to. And you know, whatever you make of that is what you make of that, but I'm going to leave that there. I hope this reading was helpful to you. It's interesting to me. Again, I don't know if this is going to come through as maybe it's going to be Stephen King's next book. I don't know, or maybe it's like something that's going to be on the TV. Maybe it's already something that I'm not aware of. But yeah, again, I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm not saying there's like definitely aliens in the water, but again, maybe NASA are going to be like, there's something weird in the water. We think it's aliens. I don't know, right? I don't know what's going to come out. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. And again, it does feel time sensitive, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to upload it and I'm going to publish it as soon as it's processed. So yeah, enjoy the next set of readings, guys. Hopefully that's it, because my house, I've done a lot of readings this week, I'm not going to lie, and I've got to go and clean my house. So pray for me, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.